and we'll use this for uploading to YouTube later. All right, so for those of you who are just joining in now that audio is working, this is Abuga. He is known as Downhill254. He is very famous in the longboard world for his educational videos, which you're seeing that way. Everything is mirrored, as well as product reviews. So I'm just happy to have him joining us here on the live stream. He's also on SkateHive. We'll obviously have links in the description on how you guys can join us in this wonderful community. Welcome, Abuga.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, glad to have you. It's my honor. I'm obviously the less famous of the people here. For those of you who are seeing this because of Abuga's fame and not mine, I'm a small town community organizer in a flat place called Winnipeg, Manitoba, up in Canada. And my passion is about growing community. But because I live in a flat place and there's not many longboarders here, I'm doing it online through SkateHive in a way to help people monetize their content and grow the community. And one of the most famous and biggest new members is Downhill254. Okay. So as we were talking with our guest muted earlier, basically we are starting an ambassador program where we're going to support community organizers and people who are key members of communities with a ambassador account, which will be delegated a large amount of Hive power, as well as our new token once we create the SkateHive platform token secret project that's not quite named yet. And the goal of that will be to just give him the power to give out likes that are going to be worth large sums of money, and then he can use that as he will to grow longboarding, support people liking his videos, liking his content, or putting out their own stuff, whatever he chooses. Yeah, so that's a little rundown about what you all missed while he was muted. I guess, do we go over the questions we already asked already? It feels a little fake to have
No, it's fine. Go for it, man.
Well, I'll ask the basic questions, obviously, like tell us about what first got you into longboarding, and then how that became you creating videos and teaching others how to do it.
Right. So how I got into skating was, I actually, when I was much younger, like a skateboard, I bought like a cheap one from the supermarket. Skated for a while, had one or two other boards, skated for a while, and then they broke. And then that wasn't very keen on buying me another board. So at the age of 12, I retired from skateboarding. Then when I went to uni, I decided to live off campus for my second year. And in order to get to and fro from home to school, I got like this little cruiser and used it. And then just kind of snowballed from there. I like really fell in love with the feeling of skating down hills, and during that time I learned how to power slide, which is like basically, maybe if you guys don't know, it's just basically a way to slow down so I could actually skate down hills. And from there, I bought a bigger board and just started to learn downhill a little bit more seriously, and then it kind of snowballs from there. Like, it was just an amazing feeling, and it was like a challenge, unlike anything else I had ever felt, you know. So I really liked it, kept on skating, and here we are. As for how I like started making the videos, I don't know, for some reason it just made sense to me to like take videos of myself like skating and stuff like that. A lot of the times so that I could what I was doing wrong. And then one in winter, I think like in February, I had broken my hand, and my brother came up to Leeds to see me before he left the UK, because we're both studying in the UK. He left the UK to come back to Kenya. And yeah, when he was there, it's like, dude, you know what you should do? You should start like a social media page for like your skating. And we both came up with the name Downhill254, or I did, because I couldn't think of anything better. Basically, to explain that downhill, as in downhill skateboarding, and to the code for Kenya for the mobile phone. So if you want to call someone in Kenya, you put +254, then whatever the number is, and it's just like a way Kenyans, yeah, identify like each other online or something. Like you'll see some business name, for example, maybe Hive254 even in future, which is just Hive Kenya essentially, and then Kenyans can identify that. Yeah. So that happened, and then there used to be these guys online who had like different courses and stuff, and this is very successful. And they're talking about how to like start your YouTube channel and how to make it lucrative, how to make sure you provide it to people. And I think a part of me has always wanted to have like an own business or something online. So I followed those guys for a while, picked up some things, and I realized, hey, you know what? I could probably be like making longboard videos to teach people, or make like viral longboard content. Because at the time there was like a lot of like not a lot of information out there about like different things. So in fact, let me send you a video on Discord that I made with this type of thinking. Yeah, this is one of the first videos I
side thing
here. Yeah. An organized militia, yeah. Maybe I am actually thinking about making some communities on Hive. I just have to get more active on Hive and make
Well,
it
if you
more
need
of a
any
regular
help,
thing.
I'm always here. You can call me, chat, whatever you'd like. Because yeah, definitely Hive is good for a lot more than just simply longboarding. I like there's photography groups on there. There's travel groups on there. There's pretty much everything you can imagine. And I would like to see it used more to give people the ability to support themselves.
Definitely. I think I be spending a lot more time finding more of my interests on there, and yeah, see what happens. And then yeah, so back on the story. So okay, I'm not actually like watching the live on Odyssey, but I can see the chat. So maybe I hope Daryl has put up the video now.
Yes.
But yeah, so those guys basically, yeah. So those guys basically told me that, let's say you have like a pyramid thing, right? If you have, and at the pyramid are beginners, and at the top are the absolute most experienced people, because you have more information than whoever's below you on the pyramid, sell them something. And at this time, I didn't really want to sell anything. I just wanted to like, I think, cool videos and stuff. So I started like making content with like information for beginners, and some of those videos actually went. The video how to get beginners into downhill skateboarding went viral within the community.
Nice.
And another one that I made was about like explaining longboard racing. That also went viral, which I thought was really cool. And you know, for a while I kept trying to do that stuff, and then at the same time I was also writing for this guy's book. and he basically had like an affiliate blog where he'd like make reviews and just like try to use SEO, search engine optimization, just to get his blog on the front page and sell Amazon products to people. And realized, hey, I could also do this because like my writing was actually good according to him. I could also do this, but I could do it in a way that's better for the community, and also because at the time there were so many like, if you were to example Google the best longboard brands now, some really random website will come up with like the worst English and just basically like it's just there for them to make money. The information is incorrect, everything is terrible. So hey, I could do that and actually have proper information out there. So with that information and also the idea that hey, I could also like have a blog that provides proper information.
No, I definitely like that.
Yeah,
And
that's
learning the Google
yeah,
optimization is something that I need to do myself, actually. That's something that I could really be taking advantage of. So it's good that you have that skill.
yeah.
We could probably even use that in SkateHive.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, it's,
That's how basically like everything came together that you see today and how everything works essentially. But yeah, now like I'm trying to figure out the YouTube side of things, like making really like the stuff that I make is pretty good for beginners. I think like the information is there, it's instructional,
mhm.
it's great. But the thing is, for someone who's not in the longboarding niche, they don't care, man. So I'm trying to figure out how I can be appealing mainstream and make good videos and go mainstream a little bit, maybe have some success with that. So that's where the goal lies right now, but still being true to like the downhill roots and all that good stuff. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier some videos that sort of went viral. Would you say those videos were your like breakout moments, or what would you say would be like the big moment where you feel like you started getting recognition for what you were doing in the greater longboard community?
There were, I think, three moments actually. So the first is like when those two videos went viral. The first one went viral, and I was like, "Oh my god, holy shit, this is so cool! Can't believe that like people that actually look up to reshared my video and are saying it's pretty great." The second is okay, so those two videos happened. The second was um, which happened first. There's a guide that I wrote on how to longboard slide or something, and a
Mhm.
lot of people shared that, and because of that, Brandon Desjardins like followed me on Instagram and actually contacted me, and and he was like, "Hey,
Nice.
I really like what you've done with the guide and stuff like that. I really liked how it's structured." And at that moment in time, that's when I felt like, "Holy shit! Okay, maybe I am doing something." Because Brandon has his own like program that people pay for called, I think, I forget what it's called, Pure Longboarding.
Yeah.
So for someone who actually does that as a business and is looking at me and saying, I was like, okay, maybe doing something here. And then the third time that was like, okay, maybe I am onto something is when I created this blog post called "Why Downhill Skateboarding Kind of Sucks." It's just basically me about ranting about the shit stuff, and then halfway through the article, like saying why it's so worth it, why despite all like the bad stuff, the shit stuff, it's so worth it for me. And then that blew up even more
Nice.
than anything else that I've written. And the thing is, downhill skaters who shared it, downhill skaters who were like, yo, this is why I do this. It's so insane that even Cliff Coleman left a comment. And when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, man,
Oh,
this is
wow.
amazing. Guys who don't understand. Yeah, Cliff Coleman is, I think he invented one of the slides that we do, but he's
Yep, the
at this
Coleman slide.
point really old. He's been like active since, yeah, he's been active since the 80s. Um, So yeah, I don't know why I thought that was cool. But yeah, that's when I thought, like,
He's a living
actually,
legend.
I am onto something here. Yeah, can you imagine? It was such a cool moment for me, and yeah. But the other thing in terms of the blog that made me really think, like, hey, maybe I'm doing something right here is there's another guy who runs a similar blog but more for skateboarding, and it's called Skateboarders HQ. If you Google like anything skateboard related, it might come up. And he messaged me on Instagram. He was like, hey, what you're doing is really cool. Uh, and I was like, hey, thanks. And then he gave me some as well, which I really appreciated. But he also said something. And I was like, this guy sees me as a threat. He was like, yeah, I really like what you're doing with like longboarding, but don't talk about skate stuff because that's my domain. So it's like this guy saw potential and was like, stay in your lane, you know. So I was like, okay, maybe I am doing pretty alright at this blogging stuff. So there's that. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's something that the longboard community is so approachable. Just in like, obviously I live in North America, so I've gone down to LA, skated with Gel Labs, with Airy Shark, a bunch of the Loaded people. Actually, I appear in their video about Gel Labs. Just as he's narrating it and talking about how all kinds of people show up to the event, they show my face in the elevator.
You sure?
And there's a few scenes of me skating, but I'm pretty amateur compared to everybody else. And I've like when I went to my first Giant's Head, it was one of the only times they offered a beginner's class where they taught people how to get down the hill safely, and got a whole extra day of skating in with that. So I got helped with James Kelly.
Nice.
Was it a couple of the Landjots guys? I forget their names at the moment. Billy Bones helped me out a little bit. And also, when I went to Maryhill for my first time, I got lessons from Max Caps, as well as a few other good longboarders there on how to take grip runs better and tuck. So it's one of those things where it's not hard to go and meet your legends. And I even skated with Cliff Coleman at Maryhill, which really kind of makes me want to grow up to be able to keep skating at that age. So it's like, take care of my body now, try not to have injuries, and then hopefully one day I'll achieve that goal where I'll be 60 and still bombing hills.
Longevity. Definitely can happen, man. If Cliff can do it, man, like, it's crazy. It's actually crazy that he's as old as he is, and he still is out here sliding and bombing hills. Like, it's honestly pretty crazy to me.
Yeah. There's a reason he's a living legend.
Like you said, longboarding community. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's famous for knowing how to slow down, not for going crazy. So it probably makes sense that he's still skating.
Yeah. That is a very good way to look at it, actually. Yeah. That is a very good way to look at it.
Oh, if you look at it like MMA, the people that are super tough and just take damage and push through it, like exciting fights. But people like GSP doesn't take nearly as much damage, and they have a lot more longevity, and they come out of the sport almost unscathed. Like, minus his like knee surgery or whatever.
That is a very good point, actually. Of course, still a little bit of damage.
What do people want most? Create the craziest videos possible, or to be skating the longest? I'd rather skate longer.
another good point. You have to maybe even highlights the dangers of being a sponsored skater or being in the limelight, because on one hand people want to see crazy things and they may be pressured to do that, and you might be sponsored because you do crazy things. But on the other hand, what is going to keep you in the sport for the longest is being more risk averse and taking it easy, which won't necessarily push you that far in terms of getting sponsored and stuff like that. So
in most
interesting
cases,
point.
before recent events, I would have referred to Curtis as the person who is a prime example, because he's really a community organizer more than he is the in front of the camera best skater, until he bricked himself really hard in
Curtis.
California on that pole.
Oh wow! Oh, Curtis.
Yeah, Curtis
Yeah, that was crazy.
Dower.
Yeah, because that happens, man. Like because you're a human being, you forget. And the difference between like doing something for a hobby is you don't necessarily have the systems in place to account for like human failure. So if Curtis, okay, where am I going with this? Like if you're a pilot, right? Even if you overlook something small, there's still so many systems in place that there's a lot for you to go through before you get to failure. For Curtis, he shouldn't have skated how he did, right, with one glove, which is what he attributes to his accident, because he was overconfident. But there were no systems beyond that decision to prevent the accident from happening. So yeah, interesting.
Oh, I definitely agree.
I don't know. I think that's an interesting point.
It's something we forget. Like when you're skating down a hill, even anything past running speed, a fall can be something serious because you may not land the right way and smack your head really hard or something like that. Like we just often take it for granted because we've gotten so comfortable, and we don't think about the fact of how easy it is for human beings to, break themselves. And at the same time, it's amazing what I've
How
seen
easy it
people
is. Yeah.
who like take falls that should be deadly and they just roll out of it. And it's all about how they land and their instincts and how to take out the energy in their motion.
I actually had like a really bad fall recently. I could probably send you a link to the clip. I don't know if people want to see that. It's pretty crazy.
Is this aside from the one where you got ran over?
I got same video. Yeah, I basically got run over by a motorbike, which wasn't very nice, obviously. But I literally came out of it from like I got like a contusion on one of the knuckles of the toes of my feet. Sorry, and that like was pretty like pretty chill, man. I was pretty okay. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, all things considering, like we did lose a rider not too long ago due to a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
It's it's lucky how it played out the way it did, but for anyone who's looking into getting into downhill, make sure you're aware of just any skaters out there in the world, because or not skaters, like traffic, because you're on an open road and drivers make mistakes, and their mistake can be your serious accident. So it's always best to give yourself that little margin of safety rather than just going full tilt. It's like, yeah, normally you can make that corner in that slide, but if something changes, you only have enough speed or like time to slow down for the corner normally, not in that special situation. So it's a serious sport.
Yeah, true.
At the same time, there's something
No,
about
in fact,
that
like,
also clears the mind.
about going
Sorry, I
going
cut you off
hard
there.
and like, skating really fast. It's fine. No, but yeah, like how my accident happened. So I don't know if if you posted it on the thing, because my live video of the Odyssey is a bit delayed. But how it happened is there are two roads there, right? There's the road and another road, just literally on the backside. So accident, the other road, on the same hill, back to back. Skated the accident road earlier in the morning, like 5 feet in front of you. So we decided to go to the other side. But I'd actually skated the accident hill top to bottom once. There was nothing, no hazards, nothing, zero. It was perfectly fine. Then what happened is we went to the other side, just kind of let the fog go away from this hill, and skated that for quite a bit of time. Do you see the link I sent you on the Discord?
No, let me pull that up here.
Yeah, it's got the crash and
the footage. Oh, including crash. There it is.
Yeah,
I'll
I think
put
the
that
crash
up on our
is
little
like,
screen here.
it's timestamped. It should be timestamped for 6 minutes 15 seconds. So okay, so we went to the other hill, skated it for a while, like I think about an hour, and then we came back to the first hill. And then my mistake was I was feeling very confident. I was feeling like really warmed up from skating the other hill. So I was like,
There it is.
in my mind, I told myself initially I'm going to take this easy, but there we go. But yeah. But yeah, I told myself I'm gonna take it easy. But then as I got further down the hill, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like push it this wrong. I think it's all okay. We've been here an hour before. And then as I got closer to that corner, I noticed a patch of the road. So what I did is I slid and set up to take a line around that dirt, but still on my lane, maybe slightly closer to the middle of the road. And then as I set up, I set up to take that line. I saw the rider, and it's really, really deep in my lane, like super deep. And what happened just before is there was actually another, we call these guys border riders, right? Border that was also in my lane, but he swerved into his lane. And yeah, so I was waiting for the other guy to do the same thing, to swerve into his lane, and then I continue uninterrupted in my lane. But he didn't. What he did is he saw me, he panicked, he kind of slowed down, and because I was expecting him to go into his lane, I didn't make the decision to go to the other. So yeah, within a span of like a second and a half, anything, I tried to slide to maybe force myself to drift a little bit more to the left, but it was too late to do anything, and boom, we collided. But the key takeaway is if I'd taken it a little bit easier, I would have seen the patch of dirt, and I would have decided maybe to not skate this road at all. Yeah. So if I was a little bit more, how do I put it? If I was a little bit more cautious, this wouldn't have happened, and it's just really unfortunate.
Well,
and the rider was okay, actually. Like in the clip, like if you keep playing, you'll see like stands up and fine. But it's just like really crazy altogether.
yeah, that I'm sure both of you guys were pretty shooken up, but glad to walk away.
I'm surprised I walked away from that at all. I was so lucky I had like the back protector, because I think it like absorbed so much of the movement, and I think I was also very lucky to when just before he hit me, I pushed my board away from me into the path of the bike, and I think it kicked it up, So it didn't, the bike didn't hit me head on, just kind of like caught me at an angle.
It was already bouncing up, and it just, all the weight and momentum was not on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone had
Altogether,
just sent me
very
that
lucky.
video and not anything after, I would think you'd be in the hospital. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know
blame
any
you. Like, I
more
even watch it now and I'm
serious.
like, that's crazy. That is so crazy. No, I think
Yeah, that's.
we were both very lucky. Yeah, very lucky. For him, he was lucky because with him being so far on the inside of the lane, if there was any other car that was like coming around, it would literally have not slowed down in time for to avoid him. If he did the same thing with me, with another vehicle, so he was lucky in this accident with me and not someone else. Maybe saved him, and I was lucky to only walk away with a bruised bone. So there's
Yeah,
that.
that's what
Downhill's
I've
dangerous,
often
bro.
explained to
Downhill's
drivers. It's like, you're mad at me for coming down this road and being dangerous, as they yell at me when they came into my lane. And then it's like, well, what if this is a truck or a semi truck or something like that? You'd be flat. Your car would be smashed, and it wouldn't matter who's angry at who. You're in the wrong lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
it's definitely a serious one. I've been pretty lucky to have those moments of lapsed judgment, and then be lucky to walk away with only minor scars.
I didn't catch what you said, like the audio, like cut or something.
Oh,
so, yeah, but
yeah, I was just saying that I've also been lucky to have those split moment decisions where you're like, I should have done this differently, but luckily walked away from those moments to just learn a lesson and not end up bricked.
Yeah, definitely had too many of those as well. Way too many. Actually, you know what, man? Like, skating in Kenya is so dangerous, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, it's so dangerous.
How's the driving out there?
Even.
Like, is it fairly common for people to be doing things like that motorcyclist was doing?
Dude, the motorcycle drivers here are insane. Let me break it down. So here's why it's so bad. So anybody can own a motorcycle. All you need is to have like a carried number, which is just like a tax number, and you can buy it. So that paired with the fact that you can buy the motorcycle and just start riding. So many of these guys do not have licenses. And the other thing is the government here, like the guy who hit me, he didn't have a license. He did not have a license, and he seemed to be also like this 17-year-old kid who was maybe sent by his parents to go deliver some goods up the hill or something like that. So anyone can buy a motorcycle. The licenses aren't very regulated by the police officers. So literally anyone can drive, and the police officers don't really check if they have a license. So yeah, you have people who aren't educated about the rules of the road on there, and they just literally do whatever they like. You could be on the highway going 80 kilometers per hour, or the highway max highway speed 70 miles per hour, 110 kilometers per hour, and there's a border rider on the highway coming up the opposite way on the shoulder. Like, they just do insane things. They drive on the sidewalk. They basically go wherever they wish. So it can be crazy to both drive and even crazier to skate. And yeah, pretty crazy all around.
I've watched one of your other interviews you did, and you mentioned how there is quite the different reaction to you skateboarding in Kenya there. Can you tell me more about that?
So yeah, when I first came here, people thought okay, so the reaction I get is a lot of people think I'm crazy. They say it's insane. Um, the other thing is it looks easy, so the next thing they want to do is they want to try it. So they step on the board for like 5 seconds, they barely balance, they're struggling, and then that's it for them. But I think once, yeah, the initial reaction is, hey man, what you're doing is crazy. I hope you're okay. But once they see you like slow down, stay within your lane, manage your speed, once they see that you don't just like skate like anyhow, right? You wait for there to be like a space in the road before you drop down, or you go skate at a certain time. You basically do what you can to keep safe. They respect what you do, and I've had like a lot of people stoked that I'm doing what I'm doing, and always giving me like words of encouragement. But in the same vein, I've had people who, no matter how safe, I want to show them that I can make it, and how many layers of safety I've placed in order to skate safely. They still say what I'm doing is risky, and they're absolutely right. And they just call me crazy or whatever. I even had one time, there was this road not too far from where I live that I used to skate like almost every other day for like 2-3 hours, and then I get like uplifts from the border riders because what happens is, uh, how do I put it? You don't often get like the bus all the way to your house, right? So you get to the bus stage, and then there's often maybe like a kilometer distance to where you live, and border riders, they've set up businesses where like they take you that last mile, and you just pay something really cheap, like 50 cents or 50 USD or 50 Can shillings, and they take you all the way home. It's pretty cheap, and everybody uses them. So yeah, I'd sometimes get uplifts from that. Just skate the road like so many times. So one time, this guy on his little bicycle chased me all the way down the hill. He was screaming at me, was saying, "What's wrong with you, bro? Do you know like your parents have paid millions of shillings for you to go to school, or blah blah blah?" That just screaming at me. And then we had a conversation after that, because whenever that happens, whenever people scream at me like that or have disagreements with me, I just have a conversation with them, and somehow that always de-escalates, and I'm able to communicate better with them about what's happening. So I communicated with him about what it is that I'm doing, how it works, and his assumption was that I get high and then I go out and skate, which some people do. Like I don't. I'm like stone cold sober all the time. But after that conversation, like he was like pretty chill, and we see each other sometimes, and he always says hi and have a conversation. But yeah, there's stuff like that happens.
Yeah,
The odd thing, yeah, the odd thing is we haven't really had like neighbors or like people who live in a certain residential area like screaming at us to leave. That hasn't really happened. I haven't really had a lot of trouble with the cops, but yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
oh no, I was just reacting to your awesome story.
No worries.
We kind of had something similar here where like there's not many real hills. So when we go find the hills, it's like everybody's just blown away because they've never seen it here. They've only seen it on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when you're the only one doing it, you can also set the example. And if you're interacting with people in a positive way like that, it's completely changes their view of the sport. We actually had a hill here where it was a main highway, but the I guess sheriff, the main police officer of the area, just said that call him in advance, tell him that it's us skating the hill, because he knows he's going to get people calling to complain and be like, oh, they're being dangerous, and he already knows that we're being safe. So if he knows it's us there, he's not even going to show up, because he's just going to tell them, oh yeah, those people are approved. They know what they're doing. Stop complaining. And unfortunately,
cool,
he retired, and then the new sheriff or whatever told us like, if we show up there, he'll arrest us.
So, what an asshole, that guy.
We found a better hill anyways, so it's all cool.
Yeah. No, but that's pretty dope, man. That sounds like a really cool, like the first sheriff obviously sounds really cool and really chill. So that's pretty dope.
I believe in lead by example,
Yeah.
and all I would ever do is just anytime police come out, I'd go and talk to them, explain how we're being safe, what we do to avoid traffic. The more they understand, the more they're actually accepting of what we're doing.
Sure. Yeah. Most reasonable people do.
Yeah.
Most reasonable people would be like, it's cool.
Is there such thing as a Kenyan Karen out there?
Yeah, maybe. There definitely like are people who are busybodies and get in your face, but I wouldn't say the equivalent of a Karen.
No,
I don't think
that's an American
it could be.
phenomenon,
It could be.
unfortunately.
It could be anything. Like, okay, a lot of it could be anything. Most people don't really care; they just do their own thing. But it could be anybody who gets in your nose about something you're doing. It could be anybody. So there's not really like an archetype person, you know.
Oh, okay. I forgot to add the tips bar, and one of my co-community members is trying to let me know. Let me make that appear, because we have actually been getting tips while we've been doing this here.
Nice.
Oh, except it didn't update, because we definitely got a lot more than just 15 LBC tokens. Well, shout out to Jasper for giving us a 15 token tip, Vlad for giving us 10 and saying cool with rocket ship, and one from Nat, who's the unorganized militia. All SkateHive members. Or, I don't know about Jasper, but either way, thank you guys and for your support.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see here. So, oh, it's already 10:30. We've been chatting for well over an hour. Mind you, part of it you were muted, so.
Technically half hour then, I guess.
Do you have any questions about Hive and where we're going with the future to maybe, both answer them for yourself and help our audience understand what we're trying to do with all this?
Okay. Not really, because I kind of understand how it works and how everything fits together. Maybe, yeah, some of the other stuff that I've been having trouble with. So yeah, so basically, if I make a post, it gets voted on. How do I make money? Do I get like Hive tokens, or what happens?
So when you get the vote, after 7 days, it pays you out 50% of the reward that goes to that post. The other 50 goes to all the people who helped share it and spread it to other people. Biggest amounts going to the earliest upvoters and stuff like that. Then when you receive the tokens, you get them in your wallet on your profile there. And there's a couple things you can do with them. Initially, if you just want to sell them to realize the actual monetary value from them, you would go to a crypto exchange, and one of the main ones that most people use, especially in the States where they're not allowed to use certain exchanges due to the tough crypto laws there, there's one called CoinEx. So it's coinex.com, I do believe. I'll try to put some links in the comments and description later on for when we upload the recording. And basically what this is it's a decentralized exchange that allows you to sell your tokens and then receive the actual money for them But the nice thing about it is you don't have to go through a ton of know your customer stuff where you have to like give them your ID and all kinds of private information. Of course, for legal purposes, I'm going to advise you to go through a central exchange like Binance, where you do have to give them your private information so that you can pay your taxes properly. Wink. I'm not exactly an expert when it comes to knowing all the crypto taxes stuff, but that's why I just go to some kind of tax expert and tell them to figure out my stuff and how much I owe. But,
easier.
Yeah, the tax world's a complicated thing, but as long as you don't have, I guess what would be called, we have it in the States, where every single transaction you pay taxes on, and you have to like keep track of all that stuff. Most places aren't like that. I know I was looking into like Costa Rica, and obviously Ecuador just accepted Bitcoin as currency for like everyday use. So there you don't pay taxes on it, and you actually what they're basically giving everybody free Bitcoin just to get the ball rolling with it. So
that is crazy. Yeah, revolutionary.
Absolutely. Like the one thing that I found very interesting is people are most concerned about cryptocurrency because the volatility of price. You know, it can go down 50% overnight because, you know, a bunch of traders lose their cool and start selling like crazy, and it causes a cascade effect. If instead of we having the US dollar as the global reserve currency, and it becomes Bitcoin, and then everything is priced in Bitcoin. And what that means is the volatility goes away entirely, because it's only the difference between the US dollar and the Bitcoin value that causes those crazy fluctuations.
It's everything else now.
Exactly. And I like, obviously I'm a bit of a, I'm into looking into politics and stuff, and I don't want to make this a political show or anything, but the banking systems haven't done humanity much favor in the world, and they've caused a lot of turmoil. So I'm pretty happy to see the system kind of moving towards something like Bitcoin, where it's a stateless currency that can allow everybody to kind of play on the same equal playing field, as opposed to being trapped in the banking system where, unless you're an American citizen, your dollar is always weaker and always going to be kind of like putting you at a disadvantage. So I'm looking forward to big changes in the world.
Me too. I really hope like, I mean, like, crypto is already changing the world, so I think it's definitely here to stay, and let's see what 50 years does. I'm excited to see the changes. It's really cool.
I'm just waiting for, mainstream adoption, basically. We're the people that are like really early right now. Like, think about if you had invested in Amazon while they were just still selling books, and you still had those shares now, you'd be doing really well. But the better thing about this than investing in Amazon is we're not an evil corporation that leads to horrible working conditions. Instead, we reward you for doing things like posting longboard or skateboard videos.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
One of the actual comparisons that I kind of am basing our new idea for the new platform we're going to be launching is Red Bull. You're obviously familiar with Red Bull's like mass sponsorship platform, where they sponsor all kinds of sports. They lead to all these like extreme stunts and stuff like that. But the real power of that is everybody wants to become a sponsored Red Bull rider. So what they do is they go out on their dirt bike and do crazy backflips, essentially risking their lives and their health for free, just to hopefully one day become famous and get paid to do the same risky things. So I thought of that and was like, well, what if every single person risking their body to create content, which is just free advertising for Red Bull, was actually paid for the risks they were taking? And that's where Hive comes in and what we're going to be doing with the new SkateHive secret project that we're going to be coming out soon.
It's pretty dope, yeah. I think that's more sustainable, and it's a solution the community needs, even though they don't think they need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though
think of how many people are creating content in longboarding and don't know how to make any money out of it like you do, and that even that's just a very basic skill that people are lacking that could take advantage of what we're already doing.
Yeah, I think just sorry, like sometimes my energy dips and I have like a moment of
That's all right. It's probably time for a good nap over there. As a Mennonite, we call them Mittagsschlaf, midday sleep. It's a Low German name, not the same as Germany, which is High German, which is funny because I tried to take that as a class when I was in school and failed miserably because I spelt everything in Low German, and the High German class said I was doing it all wrong, and apparently they don't mix very well.
I didn't know that was a thing. I just thought it was German, not different. But it does make sense that there is, actually.
Well, it's like there's the Canadian French, and then there's the France French, and both of them get mad at each other for pronouncing things differently.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Don't get me started on the different dialects of English and how there's entire countries that speak English, and yet you listen to them and you're just like, you said what?
No, that's what he said. That's what he said. Like, it makes total sense because, it's definitely, it's just that, okay, it does make sense now when I think of all the German-speaking countries that there is probably quite a difference.
Our brains like to simplify things. We're like, English, that's one thing.
That's it.
And,
nothing more. Full stop. Yeah.
I guess on that note, I should invite everybody. For those who don't know, SkateHive also has a Discord server. We do weekly meetings there. And if you're a crypto knowledgeable person, a community organizer, a programmer, any of those things, we would like to invite you to the Discord server. And we do weekly meetings there, often on Sundays. I guess it would be 3 p.m. my time, Central Daylight Times. Going to be a bit late for Abuga to attend, unfortunately. But generally, there's a lot of activity going on there, and we can also help you out with learning how to use Hive, Odyssey, and all these decentralized platforms to increase your incomes, creating content you're doing, and interacting with the community. So for those of you who have not joined already, find my Hive posts, which will be linked somewhere below this in comments and stuff like that, and join the Discord as well as Hive. I feel like it's probably a good time to wrap things up. I'm running out of things to talk about. But I've really enjoyed our chat, and it was really good to actually like face-to-face talk to you.
I've also really enjoyed this. Pretty fun. Be happy to do it again if you ever wanna do another thing. But yeah, man, thanks for having me. It's pretty dope. Look forward to seeing this on
now
YouTube.
that I've worked out a few of the kinks, we'll try to do better ones in the future, and maybe a few group ones. We'll bring in some of our other international members, because we've got skaters in Venezuela, Greece. I recently got Mayor Donkoy from the Philippines to join, and a few other people from different countries that were making great content out there. So hopefully we'll see some more activity in the SkateHive community. And for those of you who haven't joined us on peakd.com, there's many different ways to access the Hive platform, but that's my preferred method. And give us a like, give us a comment, and I'll give you a big comment worth some money back. And let's grow this community together. So thanks again, Downhill254. It was a blessing to have you on, my honor. And we'll do this again hopefully next week with a new guest.
Looking forward to watching that.
Awesome. Well, take care, man.
Man, see you.
And stop streaming. Boom.